Today's video is a deep dive into American Seed Company's CRACKERJACK marigolds. We will begin by starting our seeds in egg cartons, then move on to growing highlights and requirements, also covering thinning, pruning, deadheading, and ending on seed harvesting. Yes, we are following these CRACKERJACK marigolds for the entire season. Don't overlook the Dollar Tree's quarter seed packets. But first, now we're planting marigolds into an 18 count egg carton. This is how many I got, and we're just going to push this down, and it only requires 1/4 of an inch soil. I've already watered it, and these germinate in 5 to 8 days. April 27th, and there are our marigolds. Looking great. May 9th, and look at how great these marigolds are looking. Next week, I'm going to transplant them all in the ground after I figure out the placement of all of the rest of the vegetables. All right, here are those CRACKERJACK marigolds. Ooh, these are the best thing that came out of the greenhouse this year. Did grow the best for me this year. These in egg cartons, and all you need to do is just pinch them and they'll start to come out. And I'm just going to go ahead and plant those over there. I dug out 2 to 3 times the circumference of the plant. I'm going to plant it even with this soil line, and then I'm going to water it in extremely good. I want to water it deeply, not daily. I do need to thin this one here, and you thin them when they're about 2 to 3 inches high, and all I did was just pull straight up, and that's it. We can just compost that. I'm gonna go ahead and take this one back here too, and that's just gonna leave me with 2 in this cup. So I'm gonna come back here, and I'm just gonna pull straight up, and that's it. And that's how you thin them out. These are annuals. They are not frost hardy. And we're going to see these begin to bloom in about 45 to 50 days. So I am excited. Okay, so I've got these marigolds here, and in between will be some wildflowers and some California poppies. Got a little water there for the bees. And just so you know, these are good for zone 2 through zone 11. You do want your spacing 12 to 14 inches apart, and you do want a very well-drained, loomy soil, and you want it to be very well worked. And I work this soil along this driveway every year with my garden claw, which I absolutely love. And I am in Northwest Ohio. I am in a planting hardiness zone of zone 5. All right, our marigold seems to be transplanted fantastically. These have done the best for me. These are annuals. These are heirlooms. They like full sun, at least 6 hours. I have planted them in some part shade and some full shade. June 4th, looking at this CRACKERJACK marigold. When they get to be about 2 to 3 inches tall, you can go ahead and thin these. These will eventually grow to 2 or 3 feet in height. I have a cluster of 3 here because I feel like the space can take it. I've got another one down here, and I've got another cluster down here. I've got just one back here, and I have them dispersed throughout the garden so that they can do their work for me. You do need to keep the temperatures above 40 degrees for this. And I did come out here this morning, and there was a groundhog right here. Very irritating. So I'm gonna come back along and I'm gonna pepper everything in the garden to keep them out. So you can start to see up here how this is getting tighter, starting to form a little bit. All right, you guys, it is June 22nd, and you can see in this marigold how it is wanting to stretch out. See that on that stem? It's starting to spread out. We're starting to get some segments. We're starting to see our leaf sets. Look at that. Okay, next day we had a very violent windy storm, and yeah, it did actually affect the marigold that was almost about to bloom. So for some of these taller varieties, you just might need support. And you can see that just took the whole thing down with it. June 29th, check out the striations on the side of that marigold stem. And if you remember, I think it was last week, we had some wind damage, but those heads are starting to appear for us. Let's talk about watering. So you do want to keep these moist when you're starting germination, about the first 1 to 2 weeks, because you're trying to develop your root system. And that's pretty much the way it's going to be for a lot of other plants that you have in your garden. Your root systems have no root systems week 1, so you need to make sure that they don't dry out. Once a week, when your top inch of soil, when you take your hands and actually get in there, is dry, that's when it needs to be watered again. Obviously, as a gardener, you guys, you cannot control the rain. It rained yesterday. It's gonna rain again tomorrow, and it's raining right now. So you just kind of gotta roll with what goes on around here. So with the windbreak, also dealing with the dryer vent, but really I don't use it in the summer. I put my stuff on the line, and it's next to all of my melons here. All of my lovely, lovely trellised melons. And I've got one right here, which is also in a windbreak, but it deals with the shade of the car, the shade of the trees here, also here, and the whole entire shady front yard, which I love. My mower blade is broken, so apologies for that. A little corner over here, and we're starting to get a nice little head. Excellent. So I have it in 6 different spots. No, those are 6. I also put them right here. Oh, look at this one. Oh, yay, yay, yay. That's got some separation. Oh, excellent. Let's look at this one. This one looks particularly curly to me. Look at that. Fantastic. Remember, this is the one that broke off during the storm, so it would be a little bit fuller. Honestly, if you look at it like this, it might have been a godsend that it took that one, because I would need more airflow between that and my gorgeous Pet Patty hybrid Peter Pan summer squash. Fifi's down there enjoying a drink out of the Lord's hands. So exciting. This is when I start to get excited, like supercharged about gardening. July 5th. Look at our marigold. Starting to get a nice tall neck on her to support a wonderful bloom. Rained last night. You can see that the moisture does collect. It is July 20th today, and look at these gorgeous orange, I guess that's a new word I just made up, of these crackerjack marigolds. So the flowers themselves can be up to 4 inches across, and we're not going to do a thing with pollination for these. We are going to let the bees and the little insects that crawl around here, we are going to let them find the male component or pollen and carry them to the female flower for us. All right, today is July 23rd. I'm looking at this marigold, which happens to be the tallest, but this is the first head that has actually bloomed on this big, huge, very tall marigold. So let's look over here. This one is probably the second tallest, and it is robust and pumping out those gorgeous orange heads. I tell you, you don't really have an appreciation for marigolds. You think they're kind of run-of-the-mill until you start them from seed yourself and patiently wait for things. It's always patiently for me because I'm not patient. And look at these yellow ones here. So remember, this is Crackerjack. You get a variety of colors, and it's beautifully flanked here. And that is in between some of the Jung's Wildflower Bee Mix, which looks like Coreopsis. And we have Blue Boy Bachelor Buttons, also flanking both sides. And right here, where the California poppies. Last place I have stuff is right over here. And this is the shadiest part. And after a storm, and this one, since it was so, I think this is just a single stalk. Yeah, it's just a single stalk. So it had nothing else to buddy up to or to lean against. And I did actually have to take a rebarb tie and support this one. And this one seems very flat. It didn't really get full and frilly. It seems like it almost, it has a flatness to it. I don't know how else to describe that. Actually, this isn't the last spot. This one over here is. And this one really bushed out on me. I thought about supporting this. However, I really did not want to prep it up and gather it up. Number one, because my dryer vent is back here, so I don't want to push everything towards that. I also want to create some more airflow because I've got things growing around it, and particularly this fussy little melon here, which needs a lot of airflow. So that was my decision there. I'm just gonna let it come on out. I'm not gonna support this one. It actually flanks the steps very well, just like this cucumber does, just like the marigold behind that cucumber does. I'm just realizing how much of a mess this looks like. I'm sorry. But I got so excited when I seen this blooming. Oh, Simone wants to come out. Crazy little girl. As it is the 26th of July, and can you see this marigold? It is on top of this pepper, so they don't necessarily need to be pruned, but if you have this situation, I'm just going to cut this down at the very root down there, at the base, I should say, at the crown, so that this pepper down here, and it looks like I'm going to have to do this to 3 of them that have toppled over, and when it rains and it does get a little bit weighted, you might have that situation. It is July 27th. We're going to talk about these marigolds. They are great for keeping away mosquitoes, squash bugs, tomato worms. So the placement on this is no accident. I have them next to my 6 new tomatoes that I am super duper excited about. And I also have them on the other side of this hybrid squash. Granted, a bit close to the tomatoes, but you can always prune your marigolds because you're not going to eat your marigolds. You can, but I mean, I'm not going to have a marigold sandwich, but I will have a tomato sandwich. Rabbits and deers, they just don't like that marigold smell. So bonus. Look at that gorgeous butterfly. It is July 30th today, and we are going to talk about maintenance and deadheading these marigolds. Now, you can see that this is kind of spread out here, and it's kind of causing a little bit of a sun shadow here, right here, for this tomato. So I am going to get some string, and I'm just going to encompass the whole entire plant and string this up, much like I did over here for this marigold. And let's take another look at that. You can see how I just went several feet, probably 2 feet up, and I have got it tied here to this rebarb so I could control that a little bit better. So deadheading, you are going to take your spent plants, and anywhere from the top of the head to the first viable set of great leaves, you can cut. So with marigolds, that's actually really a lot of space. So I'm just gonna go about right here, and I'm just gonna cut that off. And of course, I can now compost that. Here's another one. I'm gonna do the same thing. Could not be any easier to deadhead these. And when you are deadheading, that's going to ensure that you get a lot more blooms from early summer to fall frost. Here's another one here. You can also pinch these off. So let's just pinch it off. Whatever you want to do. I usually don't like leaving these little straw things, especially like on zucchini, because especially when they're pointed up, rain can get in here and rot this out. So I'm just going to take the scissors, and you can see that it no longer looks like a straw, and no water can actually get in there to rot anything out. These are all looking pretty fabulous. Super duper pleased on all of our marigolds here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie this one up that we already spoke about and move on with the day, because listen, I am not going to eat a marigold sandwich. They are perfectly edible, but I want to get as much sunlight into that tomato, which is going to be a Berkeley tie-dye green. I'm going to have full videos on all of these tomatoes here. Look at how huge and spread out some of these blooms are getting. That is so incredible. They're not as dense. They're very frilly. Nice. Excellent. Very much enjoying them. Just out here deadheading. Right, it is August 7th, and we have some marigolds down here, which might, causing a problem with this pepper. So I'm gonna go in the house and get the scissors and cut that back. And I'm really not surprised, because we've had nothing but rain for like the past 3 days. Wow, this is really tall now. This is up to my chin, and I'm 5'5". So that's, I've never seen marigolds quite this big. These are still big, but they're sprawling out. You can see they're getting heavy. How pretty that is, just flanking those steps, those blossoms of yellow with huge, those bumblebees have just been huge. It's very early morning, they're not out yet. It's been raining, and it's going to do some more raining today. But I have really enjoyed these. I'm gonna go in the house, I'm gonna get these scissors, cut them down as close to the base as possible, and I can compost those. It is August 2nd today, and I have been out here pruning, particularly the marigolds. And when you find stuff that is looking a little spread out, a little raggedy, you do want to cut that off like this. I mean, you can tell this looks dead, and it looks loose. See this? It's losing its leaves. Go ahead and prune that. And that's my pile for these two down here. Ignore the tomato pruning. Here's my pile for over here, and you can see here, this is really unmistakable that we need to prune these. These are looking definitely worse for the wear here. So I'm just gonna take my scissors, and remember, we're getting in between the head and the first or the next set of viable leaves here. In between the head and the next set of leaves, the end of the head, next set of leaves, pruning anywhere in between there, and that's it. If you find that you have some slugs, I have not found any, particularly around this area where there's more airflow. You can use some eggshell. I haven't seen any slugs. However, this is a really, really tight area, especially up here next to these cucumbers. And I've had to string these up, so I just decided to throw some eggshells in there. If there is no slugs, it's not a big deal because I compost with eggshells anyway. And they'll be worked back into the soil, and they're going to add calcium in there for us. Peppers, I've got these melons, so this is a very crowded area too. I just picked a spot and threw some back here. Again, I have not seen any slugs. This isn't really a sluggy garden yard area, so I usually don't have problems with that. But if you do, eggshells are a fantastic way of getting rid of your garden slugs. Guys, it is August 9th. I've been out here doing a little bit of pruning and a little bit of measuring. This is set at 3 feet. I wanted to measure this today because they say these usually get about 2 to 3 feet tall, and they're great for containers and for borders. There's no way this could really be a border flower. This is what really sort of surprised me about these marigolds, is how big they are, because usually when you see them, you just see them as an afterthought with the border. So this is at 3 feet. I'm gonna stand this up. I've got it here on the concrete, and it comes up right here, and this plant still keeps going. All right, you guys, again, I'm on the concrete. This is at 55 inches. It's coming a little bit under the tip of the head of this new bloom, but I wanted to accommodate for the concrete being higher. So right here is 4 feet. So I would say this is pretty close. Let's say it's 4.5 feet. And you can see, oh, that's actually in the soil down there. Oh my God, this thing is a whopper. Guys, a lot of the times I'll come out here and these bees will be doing nothing but taking a little nap. They make no movement, they make no sound. I'll come back in possibly like an hour, sometimes even 2, and they're still just in the same position. These seem to be great little landing pads for them and provide a nice bed. Sleeping. Here is another bee out here sleeping. I mean, it is like 7 a.m. so, but for some reason it kind of chose to sleep upside down and on the side and latched onto this petal instead of up on these nice big pads. All right, so I actually parked in the driveway today, and you can see the heads of my marigolds being flanked this way. Sometimes I have to get groceries, guys, and that's all that there is to it. But are these not gorgeous? I cannot believe how enthralling these marigolds are to me this year. Still sleeping. Still sleeping. So maybe we should be quiet. There's another sleeping bee. I'm gonna see if I can actually touch this bee. I move. There he is. here with these marigolds, and I'm not deadheading them, so I can actually let these dry out and go to seed so I can get some more. Here's my tomato harvest of the day. So these 6 that I have planted in between these marigolds, because remember, marigolds will also help you ward off tomato worms. Worked out wonderfully. Look at how gorgeous these are. It's the 10th of September. They're still pumping them out, but I am letting a lot of them go to seed at this point. And look at this little beauty right here. Yeah, she's ready to go in now. All right, so bees, butterflies, and praying mantis seem to have really enjoyed these marigolds this year. Guys, it is October 15th today. I had to go ahead and cut this. Look at how humongous this is. Oh my God, I was so afraid if I left it, considering that it was camouflaging almost the whole entire step. I'm gonna have a dumpster come in, and I did not want them to take or chip part of my step there. So I'm gonna go ahead, well, I did go ahead and cut that, but look at all of the color it's still providing. Yep, I'm not out here deadheading. I just want to see how long the color is gonna last. I mean, look, October 15th, and I'm getting lots of color. Apparently, I didn't get it all. This thing is humongous. Here's a really good example of one right here, and you see how dried it has gotten. So as it dries, it's going to continue to go down the stem, and we can feel, or we can see how hollow that is. I can feel it. You can see it and see how that flattens out, because that is so hollow. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give that a nice little cut. I would say about right here. And there it is. It is October 25th, and here are those marigolds that we picked, we put in the bag. And look at how well these seeds have dried up. So I'm just gonna go through here, and I'm just gonna keep picking them out, and you take them from the head and you pull them out. Easier to do with 2 hands, and then they come right out for you. So the black part is the seed, and the petal part is the chaff, or the dried petal, whatever you want to call it. All right, now we can see them when I pulled this apart. So I need to go back with these, and I can see some right here. I need 2 hands. Yeah, see, look at that. Excellent. I'm just going to keep doing that. If you do not know what they should look like, then you can either Google it if you don't remember when you started, or keep a little bit and spread them out, and you can compare. They look great, don't they? Guys, I'm just gonna keep on going, and I'm gonna add all my seeds back to my packet, ready for the next time I wanna use them. All right, that's what I have so far. And look at all of these. There's a nice big clump that I just pulled out of this one next to it. You can see where the little hole is there. To me, this kind of looks a little bit like long grain rice, or the black rice. You can see I've pulled a lot of this off as well. This really is just the nod seed parts. You kind of want to clean this out. It's not going to hurt anything if you leave it like that. However, it's going to take up more room in your packet, so I was cleaning that out. And you can see right here, look at that. Beautiful, isn't it? Look at all those nice, gorgeous, dried seeds. Very dry down here at the stem. Still got plenty more to go. All right, all done. You can see how thick my package is, full of seeds. Guys, I want to thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. If you would like, comment, and subscribe, and see me again. I'll be waiting. Thank you Thank you so much for watching, and I invite you again to subscribe, as I have been gardening for over 40 years and have a lot to teach, show, grow, review, experiment with, and my favorite, a specific variety everything deep dive. So let's try new things together, mix it up, and have a glorious day.